Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Stephen Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, CM Punk has returned. Monday Night Raw, the Raw after Survivor Series. We're going to talk about the big return promo and, obviously, the rest of Monday Night Raw. But first, we've got backstage details on the return of CM Punk. Larson, what's the latest? What's the latest?
So, of course, you mentioned CM Punk dropped his first promo since coming back to WWE last night at the end of Raw. And we're going to talk about that in detail later. But according to PW Insider, that promo was initially planned to go longer. As the site reported, quote, "We are told the initial plan was for a longer promo that would have given Punk more time, but timing issues led to the Randy Orton versus Dominic Mysterio match to go longer than initially planned. So Punk's time was cut."
Ooh, do you think, hey, let me ask you this. Do you think that they're like testing out the waters, be like, let's throw him a curveball, see if he pitches a fit about it?
Maybe. Oh, your first match is going to go 18 minutes. Timing issues, you get 7.
Also,
is he going to roll with it? Is he going to get angry?
It was going to be against Damian Priest. Now it's against JD McDonough.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, but apart from time being cut from Punk's promo, seemingly everything else about his return to Raw went off fine. So PW Insider noted that there weren't any issues backstage, saying, quote, "There were a lot of talents waiting to see which CM Punk showed up. And for those expecting the grumpy Punk, well, that one didn't appear. Punk was out and about with everyone else in the locker room, spent time talking to a lot of people before the show. He wasn't sequestered away or anything like that. We were told that Punk came in as if he wasn't above anyone else and was friendly to everyone who interacted with him. Punk was described to PW Insider as seeming to be, quote, happy to be there. There was a hope among some that would remain the case. One source who spoke with him relayed to PW Insider that there was, quote, no sign of the version of the person who we'd hear it was so miserable in AEW. A few people who weren't thrilled Punk was back know that after talking with him, they felt better about Punk returning. So it was a good first night back in that regard."
Well, good. That's nice to hear. You know, just want to know that everything. I mean, let's be honest. That's like sort of the thing that everybody was sort of worried about. Is he going to be, an issue backstage? Of course, this is night 1.
Yes.
And I hope
night 2, I guess.
Night 2, you're right. Night 2, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's nice to hear. There was some more about that. PW Torch's Wade Keller added, quote, "Punk, according to multiple accounts, tried to approach everybody and was very nice and humble, and in a good mood." One wrestler added, "But he knew he kind of had to be." Who do you think added that one? "But he knew he kind of had to be." Drew McIntyre. Considering the things Punk said about WWE after he left and the fact that he was fired from the last company for a backstage fight, he had a reputation to deal with. "He seemed humbled," said one wrestler. Another said everything, quote, "seemed pretty positive all around, but we'll see in a couple months if it sticks." End quote. When I asked if people are skeptical of Punk being so friendly and nice at this point, one wrestler said yes, and estimated about half of wrestlers are iffy about whether this is sustainable or who he actually is. "The first impression is a good one and a necessary one for some skeptical colleagues who have heard stories of his time in AEW and remember how things went last time he was in WWE and what he had to say about the company and some of his colleagues after he left." We'll pause there for just a second. A couple things to keep in mind, and I'm not trying to be too overly glass half full guy, but WWE back then, as we've heard from the Colt Cabana podcast he was on, very much a different place than it is now. Triple H in the press conference in the media scrum thing that he held at Survivor Series talked, and he's talked about this often, about the health of the wrestlers, the health of the performers is sort of paramount. And that, maybe that's lip service. I hope not. But if you look back at 2013, 2014, when Punk left, so much of his issues there were, you're running me into the ground. And according to him, he had planned on coming back to the company, and they were just like, no, we're firing you. On his wedding day. And so, and So maybe what we're saying about the structure of WWE, maybe how they treat their talent, their freelancers, whatever, their contractors, maybe that is a lot different today than it was 10 years ago. And the AEW stuff might have just been a really, really bad fit for him with the lack of structure there.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, it depends how much we would get to the promo. We'll wait and talk about the promo when we talk about the promo. I mean, that's entirely possible. It did feel like, to a certain degree, and this could be storyline related or not, that you got to think that after nearly a decade of, on multiple occasions, not just the Art of Wrestling podcast, Punk taking opportunities to blast the company. Mm-hmm. A little bit of crow that probably had to be eaten. A little bit.
Oh, yeah, you would think so. You would think, yeah, no, absolutely, 1,000%. You know, I'm being reminded in chat, Larson, that this is yet another Punk Daily. I know you probably thought you escaped it, but the Raw Observer put together our theme song, so I got to play it, man. Here we go. Punk Daily! We're going to do some Punk Daily tonight. We already have. We're going to do some Punk Daily today. We just did.
All right. So, now that we got that out of the way.
We just did.
Let's get to this point. So, regarding speculation that Punk was mocking the Young Bucks doing a victory lap as Raw was going off the air. So, I believe it was a collision after it was announced that Punk had been fired. After the show went off the air, the Young Bucks raised their hands in the ring and ran around a couple times. Victory lap, if you will.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, as Raw was going off the air, you see Punk, hands up, do a little shuffle. A couple shuffle steps. A
little run around, yeah.
Little bit. So House of Wrestling reports, quote, after speaking with those close to Punk,
well, that's just Punk.
House of Wrestling is told.
Yeah, look, man, going on Raw, we keep it real around here. Come on, House of Wrestling, keep it real. After speaking with CM Punk, he should say, regardless.
House of Wrestling is told that in no way was Punk taking a shot at the Young Bucks with his final Raw movements. He was simply reacting to the moment. Furthermore, it was reiterated that Punk is looking to move past the drama of AEW entirely and has no plans to address any of what happened there. It was also pointed out that if he were going to recreate what the Bucks did, it would have been more direct. What he did does not look like what they did.
Yeah.
People will parse at every little bit of this promo trying to find something.
They will.
Every little bit.
They will. And to his credit, he didn't really give him a lot. We're going to talk about the actual promo here in just a moment. We got one more story to get through. Before we do, though, Samuel Raja became a new Friendo Club member. He gets the Friendo Club setup, which you can get by clicking join on the YouTube or by hitting patreon.com/Stephen Larson, $5 and up a month there. Gets you the Friendo Club setup, bonus shows, question threads, and the huge predictions challenges. Who will be the person to take that big blue title off of the B-Man, Patrick Sparks? Find out in December. Tyler Washington also re-up for a month. Says sucks Paul wasn't there last night. It kind of needed him. Or am I crazy for thinking that? Oh, Logan Paul?
No. Triple H wasn't running the show last night. Bruce Prichard.
Oh, that I didn't know. It was Bruce. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And maybe that's why the show was a little on the underwhelming side. Let's see. We also had a super chat from Broke Dude. Says, I didn't think the promo was bad. He took some subtle jabs in there for sure, but part of me also wonders if he isn't bound to the same legal restrictions Tony mentioned when he was asked about it. We're going to talk about that because I'm sure you've got a lot of thoughts about that, and I know I do. Samson here has become a Friendo Club member now for 8 months. He gets the Friendo Club setup. You know, none of us get access to the Tribal Chief setup except for Roman Reigns. Definitely not Seth Rollins. But Seth Rollins can get access to the Friendo Club setup. Click join. Go to Patreon. Samson here says, Punk completely no-selling AEW might be the funniest outcome here. It's like they retconned AEW out of his history.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's kind of interesting. The Real Chestnut here, also a super chat, says, checking my watch because it's Punk Day. I already did the thing. I don't want to.
Yeah, don't roll it again. We don't need to do that again.
Don't roll it again.
We can move past that.
All right. Well, let's move past on to the next story here, Larson.
Let's talk about this because this is interesting. I mean, WWE gets sued all the time, and a lot of times we don't hear much about it afterwards.
Yeah.
But this could be something. This could be something.
We always say that, though, right? We always say it's like Charlie Brown, man.
We talked about this briefly last night, I believe, during or maybe before the Raw review. And there's potential for something interesting to happen. So anyways, Punk's back. WWE's selling out shows all over the world and scoring record gates in the process, but not everything is going well for the company. Bloomberg reported yesterday that the Laborers District Council and Contractors Pension Fund of Ohio is suing Vince and others within WWE or TKO due to what they described as the, quote, sham sales process designed to favor Endeavor and exclude other bidders seeking to axe McMahon. The suit adds that Vince maneuvered, quote, to secure his power control over the company in the face of mounting stockholder discontent and government investigations and disregarded other potentially higher offers for WWE, instead agreeing to a deal with Endeavor that would secure Vince's control of the company. That's what Bloomberg said about it. Quote, according to the new complaint, the coup, referring to Vince forcing his way back to power, was the first step of McMahon's plan to escape legal scrutiny without stepping away from wrestling. The same day he returned, he allegedly announced a strategic review and reached out to Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor, who made a tentative offer weeks before the company invited competing bids. Although 3 all-cash proposals with unspecified suitors ended up coming in higher, the board didn't even bother to make counteroffers because they would have forced out McMahon, who wielded unchecked power at WWE, the lawsuit says. Had the company engaged with the other bidders, they likely would have offered even more, according to court filing. McMahon ultimately used his majority stake in WWE to force the deal through without putting it to a shareholder vote or setting up an independent board committee, the suit says. Unsurprisingly, this unfair process led to an unfair price, and that's a line from the lawsuit itself.
So this is something that we had sort of talked about in the lead up when McMahon came back and was like, I'm just here to sell the company. And that was, how far could he go in turning down a larger price for an offer that would keep him in power? And would that be an issue? Survey says yes, because of this lawsuit. It explains exactly that. What's fascinating here, and if this gets to the discovery process, which is where everybody has to lay all their cards on the table.
That's what we talked about. We discussed this prior, where things would get interesting.
Because I want to know what these other 3 offers were. Now, if you guys remember, I think it was, I forget the dude's name, but there was reports that the Saudi Arabian government had offered
their private investment fund, yes.
Right, exactly. And it was erroneously reported that it was a done deal. But if there were 2 other entities with, high, with a larger deal. Now, again, dude, it's completely not anywhere near what I'm, an expert in. I mean, I could be considered an expert in Star Trek, maybe, although I've never really watched the original series in its entirety.
I'm trying to get through it, though.
I'm trying. It's boring as hell. Golly. But I wonder if maybe one of the defenses of this is, in this day and age, trying to compete as a media entity, teaming up with another media entity is the advantageous path, and that trumps, the higher price tag. I wonder if that, I mean, look, the proof might be in the pudding, and that hasn't been the case with the stock price of TKO Holdings, but in principle, maybe that could be said something. But I don't know if the shareholders, I don't know how this gets settled, and I don't know what they're asking for besides damages, as you said yesterday.
Yeah, damages, I'm sure. It wasn't stated in the Bloomberg write-up specifically the nature of what they're looking for, per se, like a dollar amount that I saw, at least. From the get-go, Vince, when he came back, he's like, yes, strategic reviews, pursue a sale to maximize shareholder value. That was his talking point, which at the time kind of seemed like BS.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, since this wasn't a sale of the company, this was a merger. There was no cash exchanging hands in this deal.
Mm-hmm.
So the stockholders simply got their WWE stock transferred to TKO stock, which pretty quickly went from about $100 a share to down around 80.
Yeah.
We're kind of sitting now in that vicinity.
Yeah.
That is not what you'd call maximizing shareholder value, because shareholders lost money in the deal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine that is the kind of the crux of this lawsuit is you did this merger, and now people who had shares, including this pension fund, have lost money in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not happy about it. Therefore, we are suing you to recoup some measure of damages.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they could undo the sale, but they could sue for money. I think.
Now there's a point here. Mayor Pete says shareholder vote. He controlled most of the shares, so he did not control most of the shares. He had the voting power. His shares were supercharged shares that gave him most of the vote, like the majority of the voting power.
Vince didn't have majority of the shares. I think he only had about 30%.
30%,
of the WWE shares, but he was the largest single shareholder.
Right, yeah, he was the largest single shareholder.
He had like the Class B majority, the Class B stock, whatever it is, or the usually associated with greater voting power.
Right, yes. So he had like the majority of the voting power. But there still, you would think, again, not our real expertise, but you would think that somebody has to answer for the rest of the shareholders. I don't know what pension fund put money in a fucking sports entertainment company, but regardless. I mean, it did. It ended up performing pretty darn well.
It did. It went from $60, $70 up to $100 when the word of the sale was happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're going to get after, and if this gets settled or if it ends up going to discovery. I don't know, because at that point, especially if that stuff is made public, I don't know what if that's a mandatory thing or not, but it'll be really interesting to find out who is offering what, maybe more information about the investigations even that's going on with Vince McMahon. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if discovery is when it would get interesting, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway.
All right, let's talk about Phil's promo now.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. Before we get to Phil's promo, because I know the people, we're going to make him wait just like WWE made him wait yesterday, Larson.
Well, we're not going to wait till the end of the show to talk about it.
Where are we at right now, man? Let's take a look at our goal, because we offered up a whopper of a deal yesterday.
We did.
Right now, we are about, 240 or so subs away on the YouTube. We are so close.
Very
891 minus 647.
244
subscribers on YouTube away from reaching our goal of 198,891 subs. It's a palindrome. We love palindromes. And so all we're asking the fine people out there in the YouTube land, we've got 793 people watching right now. If you like what you see, if you enjoy the Punk Daily theme song, if you enjoy our take on things, our chemistry, whatever, hit that subscribe button. And if we get to 198,891 by the end of the year, we will do a 12-hour live stream where we play video games like GTA, WWE, maybe some Fight Forever, I don't know. And
I would have to get that.
Goof around, ask questions. I don't know. Maybe we can do. Yeah, you'd have to get that. It's probably on a deep discount now. Maybe we'd do like a call-in thing where we'd have people call in. Hey, this is Stephen Larson.
Got 12 hours to fill.
We got 12 hours to fill. So what ails you? And then you guys can give us your problems. We can help solve your problems.
Oh, no, we talk about not being qualified to do things. That's one of the things we're not qualified to do.
Great idea. Look, we've been around the block a couple times.
You're saying we're old. That's what you're saying.
You got tax problems? Here's my idea. Buy a plane ticket and get out of the country.
Wow.
Because that's
horrible advice.
Yeah, well, otherwise you're going to the slammer. Next caller. That's how it would go. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
198,891. There you go.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So anyways.
All right, also, we got 825 people here watching, yet we're only at 170 likes, which is pretty good for hold on.
What?
Considering we're not even 20 minutes into the show. That being said, if you could, please. Again, we got 850 people watching here. It'd be great if by the time the show's over, we can get to 425 likes.
Whoa.
Please.
That's a lot.
Hit
that's
that
a big
thumbs
ask.
up button, please.
That's a big ask right there. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. That really helps the show. We've already talked about the Friendo Club setup a Patreon and click and join. All right, Larson. Let's talk about this CM Punk promo that everybody's talking about last night.
So it was interesting because we watched it. Thanks everybody for joining us last night, watching us watch Raw. Coming out of Phil's promo, I wasn't terribly huge on it because I didn't really feel like it set out to tell us where he was going, and that's what I was most curious about. You go on social media and you read the responses, and I was somewhat surprised. It was, at least in my feed, which I try to curate, so it's a more positive experience. Predominantly negative on what he had to say. People said it was shallow, disingenuous. And he said what I jokingly said he was going to say. I'm home,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get those points of view considering all that Punk has said about WWE. Again, not just the Art of Wrestling podcast. He literally told MJF at the Brawl Out media scrum, the grass isn't always greener. And that could have been a moment of self-reflection for himself, thinking, well, I was at WWE and now I'm here in AEW. This place is a mess. It could be that to a degree. But I believe there was an interview or something where he was asked about Triple H taking over, and he was like, yeah, someone else could take over, but it's the culture's the same.
It was at a Comic-Con, and it was in regards to the Sasha Trinity, Mercedes Trinity, Sasha Naomi situation.
Yeah. So I get that, and and there was passing reference to that, and that he just kind of says, well, I've changed. Sometimes you got to leave a place to come back to accomplish what you want. But it was short, and maybe there was going to be more to it till stuff got cut. Don't know. It's hard to judge. And again, we don't know if another reason I felt it wasn't that impactful, because it kind of felt like an early draft of his AEW return promo. Wasn't identical. There were some similar beats hit though.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I don't know. It just didn't feel like it had the impact that I was hoping it would. This is your first time in a WWE ring first, because he didn't get to the ring at Survivor Series. First time in a WWE ring in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He had a real opportunity to craft a mission statement that I think would fire a lot of people up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah. I see all your points, and I agree, and I agree with them more or less. He's still one of the best orators, one of the best talkers in the business, and he could read a phone book and be kind of compelling. Last night was interesting in that the thing that I kind of appreciated about it was like any of the, like the Terminator, this is a weird analogy, any of the Terminator movies where they just sort of act like a couple of the other Terminator movies didn't happen. It's like AEW didn't happen. I heard you chanting my name for these last 10 years and I haven't forgotten about you. Well, we saw you in a ring 4 months ago. Of course you didn't. But so I thought that was interesting. But
no one's really chanted his name at WWE in about 2 years. So
right, yeah, and somebody had mentioned earlier, I think in a super chat or whatever, said, I wonder if he's bound by the same legal issues that Tony Khan. Most likely, yeah, most likely he really can't talk about it, and he has no desire to, and nor should he. I kind of appreciate that they're keeping everything in this case contained to the WWE universe. I don't want to hear him talk about the other place. I don't want to hear him put them on blast. I don't want to hear him say, because I'm so over having to know everything that happened before. All I care about is this guy was cool back in 2014 and he came back, and I'm fine with that. I mean, look, you can totally quibble about the fact that, and I think it's a legitimate one, that, as you said, there's no mission statement, or rather the mission statement is, I've got the brass ring. I've been there. I'm here to make money, not to make friends. Because what else is he going to say? He just came back for a massive bag. He's got plenty of money. He's, like the biggest thing. What's he going to say? Oh, I'm back because I have a chip on my shoulder? That's disingenuous.
Well, I mean, if the chip on his shoulder is rehabbing the legacy, he didn't mention AEW. He can just talk about rehabbing his legacy. He could put it in far more poetic terms, obviously. That was potentially leaving in the first place.
Let me ask you this. Don't you think that there's an element, though, of, look, we talked about this yesterday on the live stream, which, by the way, thanks to everybody for hanging out with us during the live stream. But Triple H seems to be very deliberate with the stories that he wants to tell. He takes his time. He doesn't, the DIY thing was supposed to happen months ago, and then it just instead happened like a month ago or whenever that was. Yeah. It's supposed to happen much earlier. that's crap now. But, but that's
Maybe if it
actually
happened
terrible.
earlier, would have had a little bit of
I know.
momentum behind it.
But I wonder if it's they're just not 1,000% sure, given that the deal came together on Saturday morning. So what are you gonna do? You got to book this Raw. Let's get him out there, have him say, "Hey, I'm home, I'm back." Like that's what he's saying. It's just he literally said that. I'm home.
Here again. Yes.
I'm here again. This is me now. And then maybe they don't have anything for him right now. Maybe they're just sort of figuring out, okay, how are we going to approach, his first feud in WWE? We want to make sure we nail it. Let's give us a week to figure that out.
Well, here's the thing, because I kind of, based on what Seth said in his promo, because he came to the ring, the crowd was chanting for CM Punk. He's all right, everybody, get out of your system. I don't want to talk about the hypocrite anymore. CM Punk in his promo says, I went backstage and everybody was happy to see me. Hugs. It was like a family reunion. Well, almost everybody. Of course, he's talking about Seth there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they did the angle at the end of Survivor Series.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like that. Maybe it's not set in stone per se, but they have an idea of what they want to do.
Oh, I think they look, they definitely put that seed down. We don't know when they're going to directly. Seth talked about CM Punk because the crowd made him talk about CM Punk. He talked about it.
You don't think they would have anticipated that?
I think they thought it was a distinct possibility, and so he said what he said, and he got the crowd back on his side. Look, he did the thing. Everybody knows that he did the thing with the middle fingers, and he was F you. So maybe that's something look, I know that's something they're going to visit because they had him do that. I don't know they're going to have him do it now. And maybe they're trying to figure out which direction do we want to do that now? That's a conundrum, though, because you have Drew, which I think is Seth now.
Yeah.
And if it's Punk versus Rollins now, like we said yesterday, who wins that? You're going to have Punk come out for his first feud and lose to Rollins? No? Then he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. You can have him do that? I don't think so.
No, you have Seth win that.
So I'm just saying that maybe it's a bit more complicated and they need a little bit more time to figure out where we're going to go with this, where we're going to go with Punk out the gate as opposed to visiting Seth Rollins next month or a month from then.
No,
I don't know.
Thing, it wouldn't mean I don't. Seth Rollins versus Phil, you don't do it. I don't even think at the Rumble. That's WrestleMania. Match.
It's WrestleMania.
You do that at WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania.
So no, obviously you don't actually kickstart that feud in full right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you lay the groundwork, and I thought Seth did that because I'm sure he knew, and I'm sure the company knew damn well that based on the video footage that came out about him throwing up middle fingers at Punk and cussing him out after Survivor Series, that there was going to be a reaction to his promo regarding CM Punk.
That's why I mentioned him. But if there was not that reaction, there would have been no impetus for him to mention him. That's my point. Is that they're not doing my main point is this. They ain't doing it now. They're not doing it now. They're going to do it. They're not doing it now because, again, who wins? Why would you do that right now? And they set up something for Seth right now, and that's Drew McIntyre.
Seth should win that because if it's about defending the honor of the company, Seth's been like #1 company guy for years. He should beat CM Punk.
I'm not disagreeing. I don't disagree with that. But Punk's got to get some wins in his first couple feuds here, and then he loses to Seth at WrestleMania.
You talk about testing to see if he's going to put up with stuff. For first year, lose.
Well, you don't have the pencil, my friend.
Au contraire, I have the pen.
You've got to put it in stone then. So yeah, dude, I don't know. I thought, look, he's an excellent talker. I think the point is I'm here, and he had about 5 minutes to say that.
Yeah.
It was a shame. I mean, I kind of wish that they had made sure to give him, hey, USA, we need an overrun potentially. Because what does he do? He talks. And yes, the sentiment has largely been negative. And I agree with a lot of the sentiment, a lot of that negative sentiment. But I don't know. As always with him, I just think it's cool to see him back, and it was cool to hear him talk. So yeah, that's my take on it. I thought it was a fairly empty promo that was still really, really well delivered and got some people fired up. And I think also a lot of that negative sentiment had to do with kind of a mid-episode of Raw.
Yeah.
Wasn't the most exciting thing in the world.
Considering that Orton's back, Punk's back, you would have hoped that hey, we got some momentum. Let's hit this one out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't entirely the case. It seems like Randy Orton's trapped on Judgment Day Island right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's seemingly, at least short-term, no repercussions for Damian Priest's piss-poor leadership at Survivor Series. They're like, oh, it's all right, Damian. We all have bad days, essentially, is what they said. We're a family.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, though. I love Judgment Day so much. I was really grateful that was
I know, you don't want to break up now.
I don't want any tension with Judgment Day, man. I love him too much. But you're right. It doesn't make for the most compelling television. It's not like every week when we're, having an anxiety attack over Sami Zayn about to get kicked out of the bloodline.
Because it was inevitable. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You just didn't know when.
Yeah.
So like right now with Bailey and Damage Control, it's inevitable.
Did this felt so I'm not going to say this was anywhere close to being as awful as the Raw after Mania that Vince ran.
No.
I'm not going to go there.
It's not even comparable.
But Raw's been pretty good lately, and there were a lot of eyes on the show last. A lot. The rating I think is going to be pretty good considering we're in Monday Night Football season. Although I guess the game was kind of crap last night, right?
Yeah, it didn't seem like that captivating of a game.
But yeah, it wasn't a terribly great episode. It felt kind of like a hangover. Like, oh man, we had this killer Survivor Series, and we're still kind of groggy from recovering from it. As opposed to, oh man, we're gonna take that momentum and completely just kill this show, have a great have a big surprise, a big this, a big that.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Also, just one last bit.
Yeah.
Stop with the ad-free first hour.
I was going to bring that up.
Stop doing that. It makes the last 2 hours almost unwatchable because here's the thing. Here's a little, TV stuff for you. Just because they're doing an ad-free first hour doesn't mean there ain't going to be all those ads that were being the first hour. They spread them out over the last 2 hours. So it makes the last 2 hours dog shit.
It does. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, with Raw, with wrestling TV, not pay-per-views, but wrestling TV, kind of need those ad breaks to break up the show.
I don't disagree.
You kind of need them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And we don't need 20 minutes or 25 minutes of ads in the last 2 hours because that's just at that point it's just too much.
It's too much.
You got to spread them out over those 3 hours.
Yep.
That they do have, and that's why I kind of feel like it was sort of the sentiment that I saw was negative in general towards Raw. People called it boring. They called it mid. And a lot of people weren't talking about that. The pacing on your normal episode of Monday Night Raw lately has been pretty decent. And I wonder if getting rid of all those commercials in the first hour and then having to worry about the commercials in the last 2 hours might have jacked up whatever structure they usually adhere to. I
mean, because when you program a show for cable television, you got to program for those ad breaks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's not just accidental. The ad breaks happen then. It's in certain moments happened right before those ad breaks. Mm-hmm. That's all intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All those moments happen during matches when rolls on. Those are intentional moments booked into the show.
And when you hear as a fan, before we knew, because it broke on social media that the first that Punk was going to close the show. But originally, when you hear ad-free first hour, they're going to give Punk a mic and let him talk.
Which, in hindsight, you're making all sorts of headlines, mainstream headlines at that, bringing Punk back in.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing there's a possibility a segment or two could go long and maybe truncate Punk's promo, the reason that probably a lot of people are watching the entire episode of Raw, in some respects, would it make more sense to have him open?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because then go as long as you want so we can adjust the show afterwards.
Or, I mean, dude, I'm shocked that they didn't go to USA and say, hey, listen, it's CM Punk. This is a big deal, most social, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We're going to need we might need an overrun. And then you can say, we're going to stick with Punk for as long as he wants to talk. We've been given, AEW does that shit. We're going to, and WWE has done that stuff too. I mean, hell, NXT, I don't know if they still have an overrun, but they had an overrun
for a long time.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to stick with this for as long as we can go. We're not cutting away. As opposed to giving him it was like a 5-minute promo because of all the chanting and stuff. I mean, you had to account for the people. You can tell he was like, okay, I know they're going to chant my name, but I got to get a move on here. The crowd wasn't great last night, but thank God they weren't in Chicago. They would have been chanting his name for 3 minutes, and then we're gone in 3 minutes.
And he just would have held the mic to his mouth and just said, "I'm home," and dropped it. That's all he would have had time to do. Yeah, it seemed like when the crowd was
Let me ask you something. Hey.
All right. Yeah.
It's sort of awful to have done that to people sitting around for 3 hours to wait for him to say that. Is that a more effective promo than what he said last night? I'm home. That's almost, never mind. That's kind of like the Jericho thing where he came out and just smiled and left.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like Roman when he comes out after beating Undertaker. This is my yard now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's actually perfect because he's getting so much heat. No, because what was missing from it was anything there to energize people more than anything else. You know, him going on about him still being the best in the world. Yeah, he's still a really good wrestler, but the landscape at WWE is far different than it was 10 years ago in terms of top tier in-ring talent. You know, wrestling, there's a lot of really good wrestlers in 2012, 2013, 2014 WWE. There's a ton of them now.
Well, there's no Ryback anymore.
That's true. There's no Ryback anymore.
You know, although that could still happen. He didn't retire.
Well, kind of. I don't want to get into it because I'm still upset about that. And if it's a situation where he can't, if you really want to ignore all of the AEW years, like come out and say, you know, I've been the best in the world, still the best in the world, but now WWE is a different place where I have to test myself. Mm-hmm. Something like that. But him saying, oh, I'm still the one with the brass ring. You've been in the company in 10 years, dude.
Oh, it's a very CM Punk thing, though. He's got to be.
There's a lot of it's like him. It's a lot of self-aggrandizing stuff about, oh, you chanted my name, blah blah blah. I get it. There's a lot of bluster there. I understand.
Yeah,
but that's the one kind of bit of crow he didn't eat. There was no humility in terms of him coming out and being like, yeah, I'm still the best in the world, but there's a whole new group of wrestlers here that I have to test myself again.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. He's like, I'm older now, and what's the trope in pro wrestling? The older you get, the more powerful you are.
Yeah, but
he did that shit. He did that shit in AEW where he came back and it was like, a lot of great names here. What's that?
He said he did it, then he would get hurt.
Well, he wrestled a lot of young, and remember, like, his whole story was, I'm beating people like Matt Sydal, but it's kind of taken me a lot to do that. And
but then eventually, when he got back to the top, he got hurt.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fine for what it was. I kind of disagree that he didn't get the crowd hyped up. Number one, the crowd was a dull crowd, anyways. But again,
it was no. I'm not saying the crowd live didn't get hyped because of CM Punk dropping a promo. Of course, it'd be excited. I mean, people watching at home, you see the sentiment from a lot of people after watching the show, and I don't see a whole lot of people being like, yes.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. But I think
CM Punk is back.
Come on, that's got to be a little bit about like the dog shit nature of Raw last night anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was mentioned by some people, but a lot of people, again, are mentioning, oh, this was shallow.
They really should have just had Judgment Day interrupt him. Let's just be honest. Let's be, recreate the damn meme.
We had that meme twice in one show.
I know. Let's just do that. But no, it's like, dude, I get it. I understand. You want to see the guy mix it up with this current crop. You know, you want him to mix it up. Randy did it with Dom last night. But
Punk did it in his first promo in AEW. He mentioned Darby because immediately they were building that match. Of course, they probably had more than a week to work on his creative before he showed up. But
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a bum. The whole cutting it short thing, it's
beguiling.
That's a great word, beguiling. Yeah.
Have him open the show because I believe Fightful said like the show Raw was written already before the signing happened, so they had to make some changes to accommodate Punk dropping the promo. Well, I mean, just have him open the show. Have him open the show.
You don't need an actual you want a main event with Randy versus Dom. Just Dom rushes him, RKO, you're good, you're done. All people want to see is
JD rushes him, RKO to JD.
RKO to poor JD McDonough.
Well, that's his role in Judgment Day, man.
I know, it's so sad. So let's talk about the rest of Raw, because there was an actual Raw last night. First hour commercial free. Don't do that again.
Yeah, not a fan.
So Randy Orton comes out. Big pop for him. He's massive. My goodness, that neck of his is thick, Larson.
His whole midsection is thick.
My goodness gracious.
Like his lats, his chest.
Jacked.
Thick.
So he signs like a little child's he signs his autograph on like a little Randy Orton action figure. Child's like, "Thank you, Randy." And then he gets on the mic. He says, "Well, sounds like maybe a few of you miss me. I'm back. I'm back for as long as I can stay here. Without any further ado, let me cut to it. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. I was gone a while, wasn't I? Whole time I was gone, it gave me plenty of time to think of my accomplishments, but you've heard them before. I don't want to bore you to death because there's a lot of them. I've never done one thing I've always wanted to do, which was compete at War Games. So when my dear friend Cody Rhodes picked up the phone and called, of course, I was in. There was another reason I wanted to be in War Games. It was invented by the late, great Dusty Rhodes. To be a part of that match is to be a part of pro wrestling history. It's about making moments, and 2 nights ago, I got to make a moment. I also came back because I have some unfinished business to attend to. Talking to you, Bloodline. If anyone gets where they were coming from, it's me. Oh, if anyone gets where... I don't know what that means. He says, I put guys on the shelf. Oh, if anybody understands where they're coming from, it's me. I put guys on the shelf, sometimes permanently, for over 20 years. I can forgive that, but point of the matter is, I have a bag full of receipts for the Bloodline. Every single member, and I mean every single member. Nashville, I think you know the form those receipts come in, right? Larson, what are the letters that he uses?
His initials, Randall Keith Orton, RKO.
You got that right. This is the 3 most dangerous letters in WWE, the RKO. Out comes Rhea Ripley. Larson, would you like to perform the role of Rhea Ripley?
I will, until she comes to the ring and says, welcome back, Randy. I mean, what a performance at Survivor Series. It didn't take you... I didn't take you as someone who does favors for others or team with someone who tried to end your career or have your big return a year and a half in the making upstaged. It's the first reference to Punk today.
CM Punk.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You look more dangerous than ever, and it would be a shame for it to be wasted. You don't seem to realize the landscape has changed. Bloodline has fallen, and Judgment Day has risen as the most dominant force in WWE. When it comes to War Games, that was a bump in the road.
Yeah, Rhea. I don't know if you have a lot of ground to stand on there.
Brush that aside. It's like War Games immaterial. The reality is we're all dripping in gold. I wiped the floor with Zoe Stark. Dominic is your NXT North American champion, and Finn and Priest hold the tag titles. You nearly lost everything to get. And if it wasn't for you, Damian Priest would be the World Heavyweight Champion right now. You come in here, you made all these enemies, people who make your life a living nightmare. Stop focusing on the Bloodline, because unlike the Bloodline, we get the job done and put you out permanently.
Hey, let me ask you this really quick. Going back to Survivor Series, this is such a tangent, and I apologize to the 1,100 people we have watching right now. Hit that subscribe button.
And the like button, too.
When Rhea came out with the briefcase, what would that have done? Like, would then there just be a one-on-one match? Would that turn the War Games match into whoever gets the pin then
like
gets...
a 10-way match? I don't know. Or would it be a War Games match plus a singles match on top of it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, would have just paused the War Games match and then match happens in it where Priest then has to fight Seth one-on-one? And in which case you have all these people standing around that can just DQ the match.
I know.
That was not well thought out.
It was. It was a piss poor plan. It was
So
a terrible plan.
the crowd's chanting her RKO as Randy, because it looked like she was going to get dropped with an RKO. That's still going to happen, by the way. Randy says, I stated how I kept in touch and I watched as I was out. Every week is Rhea this, mommy that. Well, guess what? Daddy's back. She says a lot has changed. It's true. And then there's some who's your daddy chants. And then he says, seriously, things have changed, but one thing that hasn't and will never ever change as long as I'm here is nobody tells Randy Orton what to do. And then Rhea laughs and says, Larson.
I got to find my spot. Oh, Larson says, I see you made your bed. I tried to warn you. I tried to give you an out, but you made us your enemy now. So JD and Dom attack Randy from behind. He fends them off, hits JD with an RKO. He grabs the mic and says, don't go far, Dom. As soon as I leave the ring, I'm going to find Adam Pearce. I'll make damn sure I get you in this ring one-on-one tonight.
He is like almost Brock Lesnar size. So watching
Massive.
JD and Dom attack him is just like basically two childs, you know? I'm going to get you, Randy.
Two childs.
Yeah, two childs. Because everybody calls that impression of mine. Do child, Steve.
Two childs, Steve. So two of them.
Two childs.
So we're backstage. There's a tag team turmoil match tonight. Teams are getting ready. Gable says it's Tozawa and Otis as the new Alpha Academy tag team because apparently he's going single. New Day, the Creeds are there. They're confused. And then Ivy and Maxine walks in. Maxine says, we have a special guest who's going to watch it all tonight. It's Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with his music.
I think I've heard something, like in a commercial or something of his.
Seems
like a pleasant fella.
Yeah. So he and Otis have a moment. R-Truth walks up. Mm-hmm. He says, Jelly Roll, where are they at? And he's joking about eating jelly rolls. It's like, these are award-winning, platinum jelly rolls. I'm going to go to catering before they're all gone. And so then Tozawa starts dancing.
Nasty. So nasty.
Good. Then we had the tag team turmoil match next.
So it was New Day, Alpha Academy of Otis and Tozawa. The Creed brothers.
Yes.
Indus Share, Imperium, and DIY. And suddenly the tag team landscape in WWE is looking pretty decent. It's looking pretty decent.
Ain't looking too bad.
Good showing here for the Creed brothers. So Alpha Academy started out against DIY. DIY! We are! So anyways, DIY wins this one.
They get the first one against Alpha Academy. They hit meet in the middle on Tozawa.
Yeah, and then they beat Indus Share with
John
rolled up on
Veer.
It was Veer.
And the Creeds are next. And here, granted, Imperium's in the bout, so you got like, okay, DIY, Imperium's going to be the last match. No, the Creeds eliminate DIY.
I know. Yeah, it was really
with
kind of
Brutus
silly.
Bomb. New Day out next. They lose two. Another Brutus Bomb.
Yeah, too many Brutus Bomb. They got to ease up on the what's his face? Brutus was just getting kind of gassed. So by the last one, I don't think you're supposed to land directly on the guy taking it.
It was the one on Vinci in the final here that was rough.
Yeah.
Because Vinci landed on his shoulder and then Brutus landed right on top of him. It didn't look fun.
Yeah, and Brutus didn't look like he was very happy having to do three of these things. They should get have a secondary tag finisher. Perhaps.
Well, they used to do the sliding clothesline. Julius had a nasty looking sliding clothesline.
I wasn't a fan of that either. Do something.
It looks
different.
stiff.
Just steal another. Just have somebody else do the 3D, the Creed D. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, Creed brothers end up winning the whole shebang. Post-match, they celebrate. Imperium looks sad because they know they're about to get yelled at by Gunther. Backstage, Judgment Day. Rhea tries to assure Dom about stuff.
Because he has a match against Randy later.
That's right. Dom's all sad, freaked out about that. Finn walks in and says, and Damien's just standing there looking forlorn, sad. Finn, and nobody's paying attention to him. Finn walks in and says, I just got done watching the Creed brothers. We can't take him lightly, Damien. And Damien just doesn't say anything. And he says, did you hear me, big man? Priester says, yeah, I hear you. I also see the looks on all your faces. Say what you want to say. You pointed me leader. I let everyone down. Get it off your chest. I know you want to say something. And Finn's like, no, I don't want to say anything. And Rhea's like, look. And she does her soft Rhea voice.
Yeah.
She says, we're family. We rise together and fall together. Finn says, one loss, no sweat. We're still tag champs. Rhea says, just because you made yourself leader at War Games and lost, we aren't going to hold any grudges against you. Just relax. Priest says, that's what families do, right? I appreciate it. On the subject of family.
It's like the end of an episode of Family Ties or something. You know?
It is. Yeah, he got caught smoking. He's on the subject of family. How's JD? Finn says, it could be a while. He's back there with the trainers. Why don't you and I go check on him? And he's like, okay, we'll go do that. Yeah. Yep. He's gonna like, they're gonna be cool with him and he's gonna implode, isn't he? That's what seems what's gonna happen. He's just gonna be a mess. I don't think they're gonna jump him out. I think he's gonna end up thinking that's gonna happen, and then he's gonna end up fucking himself over.
Maybe that could be. So Cody makes his way down the ring, signs a 8x10 for a fan, gets to the ring and says, "So Nashville, go ahead, Steve."
Cody, signed picture of Cody, please.
He's like, "Yes, child."
Yes, child. For you, child, of course.
For you, child.
So Cody says, so Nashville, what do you want to talk about? So many stories stemming from this weekend. Here's one of gratitude. My team at War Games secured the victory, and I want to thank all of my teammates. Sami Zayn, the Yeet Master, Jey Uso, our champion Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins, and lest we forget the one who came through for me, the legend killer, Randy Keith Orton. Randy was a mentor to me early on, still remains that to this day. He gave me so many memories, made a new one on Saturday when he gave me Damian Priest and allowed me to hit the crossroads and get the win, not just in any match either, in my dad's match.
My dad's match. Of all the souls I've encountered in this travels, this was the most doubting.
So yeah. Dusty Chance breaks out and goes, and the other story, the return of CM Punk. Nobody knew it was going to happen. No one knows what is going to happen, which is why everyone is tuning in to hear what he has to say. Here's what I have to say. CM Punk, welcome back.
Welcome back.
But what's the saying? A fisherman always spots another from afar. I have never heard that saying.
I think I have.
All right.
But I don't really know. I mean, I guess I don't know what the overarching.
I mean, if there's boats on the ocean, you look towards the horizon, there's another boat that looks like your boat. Odds are they're a fisherman, yes?
Maybe you're on a dock somewhere and you see three guys and you can point out which fisherman is who's the fisherman amongst them.
How far are you away from these people? Because they smell like fish. They're probably a fisherman, right?
Like 50 yards. And the entire area smells like fish.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If they got the knit cap on and the jacket,
yeah.
If they have the same clothes on you do, probably a fisherman, right?
Maybe they're longshoremen.
Is that the same thing?
I don't even know what a longshoreman is.
Anyways, we're getting way off base.
Computer, what is a? Hold on. Hey Siri, what's a longshoreman? Oh, here we go. A dock worker is a waterfront manual laborer who's involved in loading and unloading ships.
Okay. So the cargo could be fish.
Right, but my point is, you got two longshoremen and one fisherman. Cody knows who the fisherman is.
No, he's saying that's what the saying is.
Oh, okay. Well,
so anyways, he continues with all this news, all these stories. Well, I'd like to make some news myself. I want to do it right here. I think at this point, you truly know me, which means there's only one destination for me. That's why, granted by the authority by Adam Pearce, I will be the very first to declare for myself the 2024 Royal Rumble. House lights go down. There's a spotlight over Cody. Nakamura appears on the screen.
Yeah.
He says, Cody, you are a brave hero who has won his battle. Now you say you need to continue the story. I need you to set me free, to awaken me, to evolve. I was very patient with you week after week, but now I'm done waiting. I will bring chaos to you. So Nakamura is behind Cody and hits him with red mist right in the face.
Oof, yeah. Chunks of it all coming out,
Yeah. So Cody's down there selling the mist. And Nakamura bows and leaves the ring. So as we predicted, Cody Nakamura.
Yeah, we called this one. Good job, us. I was hoping it was AJ. I was hoping deep down it was AJ. That'd have been cool.
Once he mentioned the thing about the match, you're going to be different after this match you just did. I was like, no, it's got to be Cody.
Well, I figured it was. I was just hoping it wasn't. I was hoping it was AJ. I'm going to
run
that back.
It's
that
Nakamura, who's great, and then Cody, your favorite.
Yeah, but it's also I'll put it this way. If it was AJ, I'm not entirely sure what the outcome of that feud is. I know what the outcome of this feud is.
Oh yeah, Cody's winning, of course.
Right, yeah. After that, this was fun. Bronson Reed, boy, I got killed on the channel point betting yesterday.
Yeah, that's the one you should have bet on, and you would have made out.
Boy, I know. Bronson Reed versus Ivar. Just big men doing their thing. And sure enough, Triple H loves to do this stuff. When you got two guys who are sort of evenly matched, and it's like, well, I don't know who should take the win here. How about this? Double count out. Too much destruction. That's what he does. It takes it outside the ring. You just can't. A ring can't hold these guys.
Can't contain them. No
power. Yeah, all that. Anyways, that's what happened.
They were ringside. Fight near the timekeeper area. Reed hits Ivar with the Death Valley driver into the barricade. Ref counts to 10, match is over, double count out, and they just keep on brawling. They go up through the crowd. There was a security guy, a local worker probably, that takes a nasty bump up in the concourse.
Yeah, that was
up in the stand on concrete. That looked like it hurt.
Another one was
it all kind of culminates.
Projectile weapon, yeah.
So you got Jason Jordan and Adam Pearce, and I think Kenny Dykstra's out there too. And it all culminates with Ivar hitting a cannonball off a road case onto Bronson Reed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they should do like a last man standing between these two. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think that would be a cool idea. Who comes out of this feud? Who comes out of this
It's got to
feud?
be Bronson Reed. It's got to be Bronson Reed.
Because the other guy's in a tag team, but I don't know when that other guy's Eric is gonna show back up.
Ray Road had neck fusion surgery, so he could be out a while.
That's gonna be a little while, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little while.
But I would think it'd be Bronson Reed. I would think. So then Zoe is talking to Shayna backstage. Shayna says, "You gave her the best shot, and you've been here 6 months. Relax, your time will come." Again, and Zoe's like, "Yeah, I think you're right." And then so Nia Jax walks in. It says, "Congrats, champ. Wait, Zoe had a great match and took Rhea to her limit, but you fell short and lost. It should have been me against Rhea, and you'd address me as champion, but I'll continue to destroy this division, whether it's Becky or your little friend Shayna here." And Shayna says, "Why don't you shut your hole?" It's a reference
She looked back at her butthole too. She said, "Shut your hole. Look back there."
Yeah. Shayna continues, "Her son will break your arm and put you out again." And Zoe steps in and says, "I don't need you stepping in, Shayna. You want to fight, Nia? You and me, 1-on-1 tonight." And Nia says, "Exactly what I wanted."
Exactly what I wanted. Backstage, before we get to that match, we're with Judgment Day. Finn, Priest are walking in back to their clubhouse, and they stop, and Priest says, he looks off camera. He says, "You realize where you are right now?" And it cuts to R-Truth. He has got a huge plate of jelly rolls.
A platter.
A platter, thank you. Yeah, a platter. And he's made a mess. He's got the sugary powder all over his face. It's all over the couch. He's just laying there. It looks like Steve on a Sunday. And he says, "What's up, dog?" And Finn says, "What the hell is going on? There's sugar everywhere." Which is, of course, so egregious to Finn, a guy who has like the most perfect abs.
I know.
Truth says, "I had to find a comfy place to enjoy these platinum award-winning jelly rolls." And Priest says, "Truth, this is our clubhouse, man." Which is like the nerdiest thing you could possibly say.
I know.
You're grown men. You
know.
don't actually ride motorcycles.
Not
you
at
don't
all.
get to have a clubhouse.
Nope.
And
They
so,
do have cuts, though.
yeah, they do have cuts. And Truth says, "You guys don't have a TV either. I wanted to talk to y'all. I heard you were looking for a 5th member for your team at War Games. I want to say, sign me up." And Priest says, "War Games already happened." And JD says, 2 days ago. And Truth says, "No. Did you win? How did I do?" And Priest says, "You weren't in the match, and we lost. Thanks for the reminder." Angry Priest is like flabbergasted Priest is my
pretty good.
favorite.
It's pretty good.
So Truth says, "Oh, you need to be cheered up. Randy Orton's back. Isn't that cool?" And then Finn's like, "Get out of here." And then JD says, "You know what, Finn? I'll take care of Truth."
But before that, he goes, "Oh, the couch is ruined."
Yeah. Finn says, "Oh, boys, the couch is ruined." Oh, that was good. Sorry. He said, "Sorry, boys, the couch is ruined."
Oh, it was hilarious. Then we got Nia Jax versus Zoe Stark. Zoe gave it her all. This I feel like this could be Zoe's story for a little bit, is that she's going to give it her all and be so close to winning against, like the main event talent in the Raw Women's division, and just come up a little bit short each and every time. Because it was a situation where Zoe heads up top, Nia sweeps out her feet. Sorry, Zoe heads up top, Nia sweeps out her feet, hits a Samoa drop, and then follows with the Annihilator to get the win.
Yep. Yeah, good match, good showing for Zoe Stark again.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is cool because she uses all her. She's so quick in the ring.
Oh, she is.
And yeah, that was some good stuff. After that, we had a Ms. Gunther video package from Survivor Series backstage. Gunther walks up to Imperium. He says, "I expect you two to go to Adam Pearce, sort out the DIY issue." And Vinci says, "I promise next week." And Kaiser says, "You promise. I promise." And they walk off, and then Miz is there. And Gunther says, "What is it?" And Mike says, "I saw your little press conference, and you said your next challenger has to tell you face to face. Well, here I am." And Gunther just laughs, as he's prone to do, and says, "You sure about that, Mike?" And Miz says, "I'm sure I can beat you, and I know it. I think you know it too. What I know is you're no threat to my legendary title reign. But you stood up for yourself, I give you that. You came prepared for a fight. You can claim you belong in that ring. Just not with me." Any chance Miz is the guy that takes that title off Gunther?
I mean, it shouldn't be. There should
Better
be no
not
chance
be.
of that. Should be no chance of that.
No
None.
chance.
No chance. That's what you got. Then Seth Rollins comes to the ring. So he comes out, and at first he doesn't do his normal kind of dance and stuff to his song. He comes out and kind of looks up.
Yeah.
And then does a little bit of the dance, proceeds to the ring, and drops a promo. So he comes to the ring and says, welcome Monday Night Rollins. He does the catchphrase, I am a visionary, revolutionary Seth freaking Rollins. And so that's when the crowd kind of starts chanting CM Punk. He's like, all right, everybody get out of your system. Come on, is that all you got? Come on, everybody, do your CM Punk chants. He says, get out of your system, because I tell you what, I don't want to spend one more second or ounce of energy on that hypocrite. Instead of talking about someone who doesn't matter at all, let's talk about something that does. This title, which for the last 6 months I've built up to the most important title in this industry. Nashville, got to be real with you, 2 days out from War Games. Still don't feel very good, but I'm starting to get that itch again. Yeah. The itch to be a fighting champion. I went there, saw Adam Pearce this afternoon. I sat in his office and sat there talking. And then Drew McIntyre shows up, Steve.
That's right, man. He says, it's been a crazy 48 hours around here, hasn't it, buddy? People have been talking about things. We talk about ours, but we know what's most important is what happens in this ring. I want to come out here, shake your hand, and congratulate you on your win at War Games. And then Seth shakes his hand, and Drew says, Judgment Day has had a master plan. They had Jay on a silver platter. Not only did I not get Jay finished with, they lost the damn match. Hell of a plan. Seth sort of laughs at that. He says, it's been driving me mental, mate, and these past 48 hours have made me gotta focus. I've put Jay on the back burner and get back to what's most important. And I wonder, I kind of wonder, given that we talked about this, the whole thing about Drew maybe for realsies not being too happy with the way things played out, I wonder if him referencing that sort of gets that out of there. You know, it's like, and I wonder if his participation in the War Games match didn't really address the Jey Uso situation. That might have been some of the frustration he had. I don't know.
Could be.
So he says, I got to get back to what's most important, the World Heavyweight Championship. If you happen to remember what you told me before our match at Crown Jewel, or after our match at Crown Jewel, he says, I do. He says, when I beat you, you have no one to blame for you but yourself, and it was the best thing to happen to you. Was I right? And Drew says, you're 100% right. I have no one to blame but myself for losing, and I know you remember when I dropped you on the apron. You rolled into the ring, and I could see you were finished. You were done. That's where I struck Claymore, but something came over me. Sympathy, compassion, thinking of you with your kid. I had the urge to tell you, it's okay, it's over. I want to tell you that, and you slapped me in the face, and I deserved it. That was on me. Acting that way with you, I was never gonna win. If I wanted to win, I needed to be a shark. The compassion is gone. The sympathy's gone. Get lost, Jey Uso. I'm coming for the world title. I want my damn rematch. So Seth says, Drew, there's one thing I always respected about you, which is your honesty. And I have to be honest with you. You deserve a rematch. But there might be a couple people who deserve one a little more than you. That Nashville is why I came out here. I met with Adam Pearce, and I wanted to tell you next week I defend the World Heavyweight title live on Monday Night Raw. And Drew says, all right, you're the champ. You call the shots. Do you mind if I ask who the match is with? And Drew might be thinking deep down, maybe he's going to say it's me. Oh, no. It's Jey Uso. That's Seth. What are you doing, man? You can't drop that one on him.
No.
So Drew gets pissed off, hits a Glasgow kiss on the title on Seth. He hits, and immediately he's busted open a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he grabs Seth, belly to belly, Seth, and the kilt comes flying off.
Just there in his undies.
He's just there in his he's got some like black spandex on,
like boxer briefs, but the form fitting ones. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And he says, is this personal against me? Jey Uso, I beat him 2 weeks ago, which is a good point. He gets in some more punches. Jay's music hits. He does his stealth walk out there.
Yeah.
And he lays in some punches to Drew. Him and Seth hit double super kicks, and Drew gets out of there. Jay grabs the world title, stares at it before giving it back to Seth. They shake hands.
Yep.
So Drew's he's gonna fuck up.
Absolutely.
Match. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're backstage, and Drew is walking. Sami Zayn's like, "Hey, Drew, you need to hear this. You can't beat Seth one on one, so you need to headbutt him." And Drew says, he clearly has something against me. You don't know what I'm going through. Which Sammy goes, you're not the only one here with disappointments. You lost the chance to win the disputed title in front of your family because of the bloodline. So did I. You came within seconds of beating Seth for the title. So did I. Every disappointment you've had in your career, I've had times 10. The difference is every time I fall, I get back up and move towards becoming what I know I'm going to be, World Heavyweight Champion. Drew, look at you. You're 6'6", 300 pounds of pure muscle with everything going for you, and you're acting like a spoiled brat. You're better than that. And Drew goes, you know what? You have some points. I should take everyone's advice and work my way back up the ladder. I'm going to go to Adam Pearce and make a match for me next week against you. And then he leaves.
Yeah, man.
Sammy's like,
Ooh, why did I just say all those things I said? I'm going to eat a Claymore now. Yeah. So do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think, what do you do? Does Drew keep on losing, or do they have the, because he's gonna screw up the Jey Uso match. It's going to motivate the match of the Royal Rumble, right?
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so.
After that, we've got Natalya and Tegan Knox.
Hold on. Let me ask you this then. If it's Jay versus Seth and Drew screws it up, is it just Drew and Seth, or
triple threat?
Yes. Because Jay could be like, I didn't get a fair crack at the title here. Shouldn't I get another opportunity?
I don't know. I think they totally go either way. I mean, you would keep Jay out of the Rumble. So I don't know. That Rumble's going to be stacked this year.
It really is.
It's going to be loaded.
It really is. Then we get a women's tag title match to Natalya and Tegan Knox challenging Piper and Chelsea for those belts. It was a really good match.
Yeah, it was. It was
a really good match.
Yeah.
In the end, Piper and Chelsea retain. So Piper sends Natalya out, tags in Chelsea. Chelsea's looking for an unprettier on Tegan, but she fights it off. Chelsea's looking for a crossbody, but Tegan and Natalya catch her and suplex her into the barricade out on the floor. So then Piper hits them with a cannonball off the apron. She puts Tegan back in the ring and hits her with a running crossbody to get the W.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was a good match. Yeah, that was good stuff. I'm sort of curious who, of all the sort of, I mean, it's a lot of thrown together tag teams.
And which is interesting because they have two actual women tag teams in Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, and then Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Oh, yeah. That get no TV time.
Nowhere to be found, yeah. Katana and Kaden, I wonder if they just have no idea how to crack characters for them. Isla Dawn and
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire, yeah.
They've had some video packages, but not any matches.
That's a surprising one because I feel like they have a good grasp on their characters. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with the women's tag titles. There's really nobody out there. Like they could. It doesn't seem like they're going to put Zoe back with Shayna to go after those things because I feel like they want to build up Zoe as a singles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to shake out. Because I mean, look, Chelsea Green does such good work, and they have good chemistry. Her and Piper. I could see them having those titles maybe till Mania, and then I don't know what you do. I don't know. Put Becky and Charlotte together to have a title run.
Well, I mean, if Becky's going to face Rhea and Charlotte faces Bianca, you can't do that. Right.
I mean, you could just to have titles on them, put them on Damage Control.
Yeah.
I kind of wouldn't necessarily want that because I think Chelsea's just doing really good work. Yeah. She always does, though. After that, Piper dumps Tegan out. Chelsea celebrates, and Piper holds up both belts. Backstage, Jay walks up to Randy backstage. This is, oof. He says, hey, I wanted to find you before you found me. He says, I want to say thank you for having my back at War Games. If it means anything, I heard you talking about receipts. I'm sorry about how all that bloodline stuff went down. Cody gave me a second shot here on Raw, and I want to do right and leave it past in the past. Randy says, no, I get it, Oos. I've been watching. You've had a lot of people's backs around here, and a lot of people trust you. As far as I'm concerned, let bygones be bygones. But I still have issues with the bloodline. As long as you're out, Jay says, I'm out. Then we're good. And then they eat together. Larson, this is a load of bullshit.
Jay is totally eating an RKO.
At the very least. It makes me wonder, maybe there won't be a feud, but there's going to be a receipt called an RKO. That's going to happen. Now, maybe it'll be an actual feud. Maybe Randy will just freaking explode on him and be like, did you really think I was going to let you get away with that? That's not going to happen. I don't care how many people here trust you. I'm going to get mine, and then you can move on.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's going to be like one well-timed RKO, or if it's going to be straight up like Randy Orton's like, nah, we're going to have a match, and I'm going to mess you up. How would you go about it?
If to a degree Orton was sincere here, but he's got to get his pound of flesh still and hit him with at least one. Hit him with one and be like, all right, now we're good. Because if Randy is really going after the bloodline, I could anticipate Randy taking on Roman at the Rumble.
And Randy would primarily be on SmackDown anyways.
Yes. So, assuming that he's gonna hit Jay with something, maybe just one and move on.
Maybe, because I feel like, they might do like a wildly overbooked thing with Seth and Jay, where Drew and Randy get involved.
Possible.
Randy has an issue with Jay. Drew has an issue with Seth.
Yeah, it would be interesting if. So Randy goes after Jay, but also the bloodline. So Jay, in an attempt to get back at Randy, kind of has to help the bloodline against Randy. That'd put Jay in an odd situation.
That would be interesting. Or Jay just like eats shit and says, you know what, I had that coming. That's fine. It was one RKO. I can get over it as long as he's not like stalking me and coming to my house. Should be pretty happy with that if that's the least he does.
Yeah, no, for sure. Then we have an interview with Becky Lynch. She's asked about war games and how she's feeling. And Becky says, I feel like I went to war in an epic battle. I look like I've been to war in an epic battle too. Saturday was a night of making amends. There's a thin line between love and hate. You never know when it's going to switch. Enough about Saturday. The man has come around to Nashville. I've got a fight coming up. One more pressing than the other.
You know what they could do? Because who is this? Death and Taxes says, what if Jay tries to help Randy against the bloodline out of the Rumble to start the Jimmy stuff?
Could be.
Randy ain't going to win at the Rumble, but if Jay puts in a good effort and neutralizes like Solo or, Jimmy, that could be a thing.
That could be.
Because we're totally getting, at the very least, we're getting Jay. What do you like better? What do you like better? Jimmy versus Jay straight up at WrestleMania? Or Jay and Sammy against Jimmy and Solo for the tag title somehow at WrestleMania. Or a triple threat, I guess, maybe toss a Bloodline or a Judgment Day in there, but I don't know if I like that.
You know what to a degree, you wonder if Jay winning the tag titles with Sammy would sting a bit for Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Jay's already done it with Cody, and it was Jimmy who cost him the titles ultimately.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But to see Jay tagging with Sammy, that might sting a bit. I don't think you could go wrong in either scenario, and maybe Jay and Jimmy would prefer having the singles match over the tag match. I don't know. I don't think you can go wrong with either, honestly.
I think you do tag this year, the solo next year. I'm sorry.
All right, there you go.
The tag at 40, the singles at 41.
All right.
Because there's a lot you can work with there. This bloodline story, you can squeeze a lot more out of it. After that, we had our main event. Well, hold on a second. We mentioned the Becky thing, but I didn't really talk about it. Since
I have a fight coming up, one more pressing than the other.
Are we missing something?
Fight coming up, one more pressing than the other. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
not announced for anything, is she?
I don't think so. Oh, maybe
John Chambers says the Rumble, and that's what I'm guessing. But
okay, maybe there's some business before the Rumble. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyways, so after that, we had our main event: Dominic Mysterio versus Randy Orton. Randy's so huge.
Massive.
Just keep on reiterating this shit. He is
massive.
Huge. Yeah. So this is a lot of like just Randy dominating Dom. Eventually, so he drapes Dom in the ropes for a DDT and hits that. Randy signals for an RKO. JD shows up, pulls Dom out of the ring. JD then talks some shit to Jelly Roll at ringside, who pushes him down. Dom screams at Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll pushes him. He daps up Randy, who hits a back suplex to Dom on the announce table, Bollywood Boy style. Randy plants Dom one more time, rolls him in the ring, then grabs JD on the apron, gives him a DDT. Dom hits a drop kick and a 619, heads up for a frog splash. Randy moves, hits an RKO, covers Dom to get the win here. Yep. After that, we've got CM Punk. So you've heard, at least on the broadcast, the remastered version. Let me ask you this. Is it possible that the licensing rights for the original version is still with AEW?
That could be.
Because if they had a contract, you would think last a certain amount of time, unless it's
song. So it sounds like a re-recorded version because guitar part's different.
Yeah.
Guitar solo's different, not the actual riff, but the solos were a little different. The vocals, you could tell, were a bit re-recorded. That could be.
Or, I mean, it might be just a situation where they're like, hey, we have this remastered version. If you're going to come back, could you use that? I'm really kind of curious.
Well, here's the thing, too. If this deal came into place just on Saturday, has been finalized, I don't think Living Color could just go in the studio and drop and have it ready for that night. You know what I mean?
Kind of silly to think that they'd be like,
Punk's
coming back, let's go do this.
Before Saturday, too, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, in any event, new version of In Living Color's Cult of Personality. And he said, looks like hell froze over. When I mean hell froze over, I'm standing on Monday Night Raw with a live mic in my hand. Surprised a Black Hawks fan. Yes, Larson, go ahead.
I understand CM Punk's a huge hockey fan. It takes me out of every promo he does when he makes a hockey reference. It's so self-indulgent.
He loves it, though. Come on. Am I supposed to drop promo and not use a Star Trek reference?
It's one thing to put a reference in there. Like, you say, I didn't think much of this competitor, but I found out he's more human than I realized. Okay, that's fine. But to so directly make a Star Trek reference, or in this case, a hockey reference.
That's I disagree with that just because that's a connection with the crowd. It's like, some friendly bants, right? Some friendly banter with the crowd. I'm a Blackhawks fan. You guys are the Predators barn, as he referred to it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we got the connection now. I think that's kind of savvy with the crowd connection thing, but I get your point. He says, I'm sorry I had to. I gotta be me. He says, lately I've been feeling more like myself. Saturday was a career highlight. I've been trying to explain how I feel. I've come to 2 words, and I'm afraid to say them honestly. Not because they aren't true, but because I'm scared of how true they actually are. It's corny and cheesy and not CM Punk, but I've changed. We'll find out about that. He says, once upon a time, an American dream told me you can't go wrong speaking from the heart and telling the truth. The truth is, I'm home. I've come back to this familiar place, and I didn't know how it was going to go, but it made me feel like my old self. This is home. I've been gone 10 years. 10 years, and you people never forgot me, even when I forgot me. A bunch of continents, countries, people all over the world never stopped chanting my name. The voiceless found their voice. I'm proud of you, and I heard you. I love you guys. I missed you, and I wish I never had to leave. But once upon a time, a wise man told me for me to get everything out of this place, I had to leave and come back. Hate to say wise man was right, but that's why I'm here, because you're home. Are we to assume that this is Paul Heyman he's talking about?
Yes.
Saturday was an amazing moment. Monday is an amazing moment. Behind the camera, it's been nothing but love, nothing but hugs, a family reunion. Everybody is happy to see me. A few people kissed me on the mouth. How's AJ? AJ is fabulous and sends her regards. Everybody is welcoming back with open arms. Well, almost everybody. Some people are afraid. They're afraid of the truth and what they don't understand. Everything I want is here. The best competition is here to find the best in the world. The best in the world hasn't been around for 10 years. I understand being afraid. You're afraid I set the bar too high. The brass ring is in my back pocket. The most dangerous and controversial man in this business just walked through the door, and they can't do anything about it. Some people are afraid when they wake up. Their best efforts at being the best in the world in this ring, on this microphone, even on commentary, isn't just false, it's a lie. The best in the world is right here, standing in this ring live and in living color in Nashville on a Monday night, and his name is CM Punk. And then as the show goes off the air, he looks to the camera and says, not here to make friends, here to make money. Yeah, I liked it. I thought this was a
Steve
good
was into
promo. I liked
Steve
it.
was
I'm
into
into it, man. I think it's good stuff. And they got rid of that goddamn Survivor Series logo off the shirt. Now it's just that cool looking Chicago colors, CM Punk old school. Looks like made on a copy machine with several different colors of toner. I like that shirt, man.
You gonna buy it?
I don't know, because next week he'll probably do some asinine things backstage and be fired again. And it won't even ship yet, man.
Well, it'll still print. You'll still get it.
Yeah, I'll still get it. Too late.
All right, you want to answer a couple questions here?
Yeah, let's do that. We have some question threads. Of course, as always, you can ask a question here at Going in Raw using a super chat on the YouTube or by leaving us a question in the question threads by hitting the join button, going to the community tab, and in the membership only tab, you get access to the question thread there, or patreon.com/Steven Larson. You're going to be reading them off the Patreon. I am going to find the questions over here on the YouTube.
Timor here asks, what other food items are you bringing to the Judgment Day Clubhouse to ruin it? What food item would you have to bring to make it better?
Oh, dude.
I'll tell you the way I'm going to ruin it. I'm gonna bring some chili in.
Oh,
Eat the chili. If it doesn't stain stuff, when I burn in my farts on the couch,
you're going to be blown.
I thought it was ruined with the powdered sugar.
Yeah. They're going to walk in. Oh, my God. What does that smell?
There's something dying here,
My insides, Damien. That's what died.
Delicious, delicious chili.
You know what's really difficult to get out of leather sometimes? That's chocolate. So I'm going to bring some fudge rounds. I'm going to have a platter of fudge rounds. Finn's going to be like, do you know how much added sugar's inside each fudge round? I'm going to be like, I do. A double fudge round is 95%. I looked this up before because when my dad was laid up, I went to the corner store by his house, and I was like, what is this double fudge rounds? Hold the phone. So I was like, just out of curiosity, 90% of your daily sugar intake is in one of these things. I had like half, and I'm like, I can't, Dad, this is too much. He's like finished with it.
Oof.
Yeah, so I'd bring the fudge around. There'll be chocolate all over the couch. I'm like, I can't get this out.
Yeah. Alex Foster here asks, is WWE possibly going to run into a problem if they keep giving Jay world title shots and never wins them? No, because I'm sure his opportunities will not come to fruition because someone costs him the match.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Eastside Review says, I know how you are with Judgment Day, Steve, but who do you think would be the best to take the NXT North American title from Dom Mysterio? I mean, Dijak is a good option.
Trick Williams.
Well, he did that already.
Oh, he did briefly, but get it back.
Get it back. Whoop that Trick. I kind of feel like Trick. He's already
but he's not going to beat. Ilya's going to have that title for a while. At least 6 months.
Who else in the Iron Survivor?
Yeah, the winner of that gets a title shot.
Dijak's in it. No, you know who needs to beat Dom? Hey, Von Wagner. Yeah,
What about Lexus King?
Yes.
I don't know where my sunglasses go, but I can put a title belt over my shoulder.
Please, Lexus King, that'd be amazing.
Cruz here asks, am I either doing this wrong or something? Although my questions never get read. Usually if questions aren't read, it's because we generally covered that topic on the show.
Usually that's the case. Yeah, you can leave the questions. You're not guaranteed to have them answered. But we'll do our best to answer them. I might have to go start using the hashtag first thing again for people who haven't had theirs read, because I'd like to get everybody, but sometimes if we already covered it, there's no use in reiterating it. Kyle says, with Phil being friendlier with the Fed now, do you guys think we may get AJ Lee in the Women's Rumble this year? I kind of feel like she's retired.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it. I think it'd be cool. I kind of feel like she's retired, but whatever she wants to do, if she wants to come back, I think WWE should definitely have her back.
Definitely. Blake Whitehouse here says, what are 3 things you'd like to see QT Marshall do at WWE? So we did talk about this on the show. QT announced yesterday on Twitter that he's resigning from, or has resigned from AEW. I think he's done at the end of the year.
He said that he feels the company is going in a different direction.
Yeah.
I did like how you said, hey, QT, we're not going to use your QTV skits anymore.
Yeah.
We're going in a different direction. So he put it on his notes app.
I know. 3 things I'd like to see him do in WWE. Come out to break up brawls as producer.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
That's kind of it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, I from what everybody said on social media, behind the scenes, he had made a lot of friends.
Oh, he does a ton.
He does a lot. Obviously, Cody and him are probably still tight. Mm-hmm. So yeah, bring him in as bring him in as a manager at WWE. I don't know. I was not a fan of a lot of what he brought to the table on camera. That being said, I feel like as a personality, like some of the stuff I saw in AAA, I think with the right stuff, he could be useful on camera as some sort of personality. I think that he's got something to offer, but probably more likely behind the scenes, like you said. But breaking up brawls on camera might be the extent of it. But I'm not going to write the guy off completely. I think that a lot of people said a lot of nice things about him, and I'll take their word for it, I guess. The QTV stuff was god awful, though.
It was bad.
It was terrible.
He's a decent wrestler, but from what we've seen of his work otherwise in AEW, I just don't know what. This isn't a slight at him. I don't know what he offers that WWE doesn't already have several times over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Other than
see him
he's friends with Cody,
Like, I don't see him, for example, I don't see him in the same light as like a Pierce or an Aldis, like an authority figure. I don't see that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nick Kyle says, how will Bayley get kicked out of Damage Control, and how can she make amends for what she has done to Bianca, Becky, Charlotte, etc. over the last 4 years of her heel run?
They need to like extend that out. It's got to be excruciating. When it's like, oh, when is this going to happen? It's going to be like the Sami Zayn stuff.
It is. What if Bayley's still a member of Damage Control until she wins the Rumble? She wins the Rumble as a member of Damage Control.
Ooh, they do the thing. Boom. Like
and that's when they kick her out.
That could be. Zyshawn says, when do you think Seth and CM Punk should have their first interaction?
Next week.
That's too soon.
Nah. Got to build.
They need to start leaking out that, like, oh, they have to be kept apart. That kind of shit. Work the sheets, damn it.
But then shoot that and have like some grainy footage backstage.
This is a terrible idea. Rocky Feller says, what are the odds of Punk doing a new Nexus but with Judgment Day?
No, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Rhea is she's the perfect leader of Judgment Day.
Yes. Luis here asked, do you think Triple H is respected enough by the locker room to basically say to tolerate Punk? I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
I think he's a smooth operator. I think if he can, if he's going to make some phone calls to some of the top talent that, have an issue with Punk, I think that he can smooth that out and say, hey, listen, we're all going to make a lot of money here. If I'll be on top of it, if he acts up, I'll deal with it.
The bottom line is the best he can do is convince people to give Phil a chance.
Yeah.
Outside of that, if Phil acts up, if Phil irritates somebody, there ain't much Triple H can do about that.
Oh, I disagree with that. I mean, I think the buck stops with Triple H, and if he starts acting up, he's got to do something about it. I think he would.
In terms of smoothing out relationships with people, that's what I'm talking about. Triple H can't do much about that. Short of talking to Punk or firing.
Absolute 76 says, who are the top 5 feuds you all want to see Punk fight first? I think we did a count out on this.
We did listed 10, except we did put Logan Paul number 1 there, slide everybody else up a spot.
Logan Paul is number 1 because watching CM Punk try to work shoot promo on Logan Paul, and Logan Paul just completely no sell. Logan Paul is, to me, this is going to sound so bad. He's sort of the new LA Knight to me in terms of like how Teflon he is, you know? Yeah. The dude's an awesome wrestler. He cuts really good promos and like nobody can kind of touch him. And like watching somebody like CM Punk, who even with a big money deal makes like in a year what Logan Paul makes in a month, like that would be hilarious.
It would be.
And I would love to see that because it'd probably be a really good match too.
It probably would be.
So yeah, Logan Paul is my number one with CM Punk. Agreed. Talk about having to eat crow.
Yeah.
Like trying to promo on an influencer and not getting anywhere with them. Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be good. It'd be fascinating. Fascinating.
It would be fascinating. And yeah, John Chambers has it right. Logan Paul does a better buckshot than CM Punk.
Definitely.
Logan Paul's got the best buckshot lariat in the business. I'm sorry, Hangman Adam Page, but it's true. Why is it whenever Logan Paul does somebody else's move, he like makes it look way better than that person?
Because he's super athletic.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, man. That would be awesome.
We can end on this one. Andre says, do you think Punk's promo is a clear indicator that he has changed and will follow the structure of WWE and play by the rules by not having his promo wild and out of pocket like his brawl-out press conference?
Too early.
It shows that right now he's on his best behavior.
Yeah, but it's right now is too early to tell, right? It's been
exactly.
3 days.
It's right now.
It's way too early to tell.
If he goes and irritates somebody backstage, it could all fall apart.
My honest to God hope is that the structure and him having a sincere desire to play nice, like leads to a smooth, whatever, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's going to be. And I hope he stays healthy and I hope everybody's happy and everybody makes a lot of money. That is my honest desire. You know, I think that would be good. I want him to make some really, really awesome pro wrestling memories. That's my honest to God. Now, will that happen? Fucking, I don't know. I wouldn't put a single dollar on it being a smooth 3 years or 2 years or whatever.
No.
But I would love for that to happen. I really hope it does. Here's another one. Hold on. How long is when he gets found? Okay. There's actually two more good ones here.
All right.
Well, actually three. Adam Bull says, is Chaos an Okada reference? I mean, it's a reference to his time in New Japan.
And that was Nakamura was one of the founding members of Chaos. So.
Right, yeah. I don't think that means...
Be as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're probably trying their best to court, Okada maybe using Nakamura. We've heard that. Blind Mask says, how long until Punk interacts and feuds with Roman? It's a while.
Could be a while if it ever happens.
It's going to be a while. A while. And then finally, AJ says, how long does babyface Orton last before he gets his pound of flesh from Jay? It's going to be really interesting to see their relationship develop if Jay's going to be involved in Roman in Randy's quest to get receipts to the bloodline. That'll be interesting. I don't know.
That would be interesting. Interesting.
I don't know.
Would be.
Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We've got over 1,000 people still watching us.
We got 469 likes too.
Nice. I'm down 469, Larson. And yeah, we hope all the friendos are too. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I don't even know what that means, I mean, I know what a 69 is. Oh man. I'm going to stop talking about it before I dig myself a hole, Larson.
Good idea.
All right. Till next time. We'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.
Wrong thing. Hit this one. Oh no, I don't need to hit that. We'll just leave. I don't know why I'm on. I don't know what all this is here.